Hello and welcome to Frontrunner Motorsport. It has been a very long time since we did an episode of One Race Wonders, a series looking at the poor unfortunate souls who only had one start in Formula 1. In fact, it has been 279 days at time of writing since episode 20, when we looked at the very brief career of Jack Aitken. But for its return, I thought it was time we did a one race wonder I'd kind of shied away from in the past. Roland Ratzenberger was an Austrian who didn't make too many waves in his brief motorsport career. There was the odd moment here and there, and he certainly wasn't bad, but there are no great championship wins to mention, no outstanding racing qualities as such to talk about, and yet he managed to make his way to Formula 1. So let's take a look at the career and Formula 1 race of Roland Ratzenberger. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe, and at the end of the video check out the One Race Wonder playlist. Roland Ratzenberger began his career hanging around the Walter Lechner Racing School, an act that would get most adults arrested, but as Roland was a teenager, he was given a racing seat in German Formula Ford. Follow your dreams, kids. In 1987 he would find himself racing for Team Schnitzer in the World Touring Cars and West Surrey Racing in British Formula 3. Ratzenberger would get 4 podiums in the World Touring Cars, which is not bad for a first attempt at touring cars, although he did only finish 10th overall. In British Formula 3 he only finished 12th, but 6 of the drivers ahead of him would also get Formula 1 drives, although Gary Brabham and Perry McCarthy never actually got to race. After a move to Madrick Motorsport, results didn't really improve in 1988 in British Formula 3, but a drive in the BTCC in a BMW M3 at selected rounds showed Ratzenberger definitely had some talent. He took a class win over the dominant ProDrive BMW team and proved to be a thorn in their side. Roland Ratzenberger would be all over the place in 1989, a couple of DTM races here, a few races in Japan there. He had his first go at Le Mans alongside old mentor Walter Lechner and Brazilian Maurizio Sandro Sala. The Brunn Porsche didn't finish. Ratzenberger's main series in 1989 was the inaugural British F3000 series, a series that never had big grids and was a disappointment from the start. Ratzenberger did manage to take a win and finish 3rd overall. In 1990, Ratzenberger competed full-time in Japan, struggling in Japanese F3000 but taking a win in the All-Japan Prototype Series in a Toyota. He also failed to finish at Le Mans again. In 1991, Ratzenberger raced alongside Thomas Danielson in the second class of the Japanese Touring Car Championship. They'd take 3 wins in a BMW M3, be classed 4th overall as the highest Class 2 runner, and overall were pretty successful. He'd take another win in the Japanese Prototype Series, and for a 3rd time failed to finish at Le Mans in a Team Chupan Porsche alongside Will Hoy and Edgy Erzl. I'm pretty sure they're just noises you make when you stub your toe. Roland Ratzenberger started to compete in the Japanese Formula 3000 series from 1992. Racing for Stella International, he'd win at Suzuka but only finished 7th overall, whilst also winning a couple more JTCC Class 2 races in the BMW M3, and for the first time managed to get to the end of a 24 Hours of Le Mans race with Erzl and Eddie Irvine. They finished 9th but only 2nd in class. After another mediocre season in Japanese F3000 and an even better result at Le Mans in 1993, 1st in class and 5th overall, Roland Ratzenberger got the opportunity of a lifetime, a chance to race in the pinnacle of motorsport, Formula 1, with Simtech. It's better than nothing, I guess. Simtech were a strange entity, started by Max Mosley and Nick Wirth in 1989, and almost brought BMW into Formula 1, only for them to pull out to go to DTM instead. The results of that project were sold to Andrea Moda, and we know how that turned out. After attempting to make a chassis for another failed team, the Bravo Grand Prix team, Max Mosley left due to becoming FIA president, and Jack Brabham came in as a shareholder, putting money into the team so son David Brabham could have a race seat in Formula 1. Roland Ratzenberger would eventually be named as a second driver. It was also going to be a tough year with MTV sponsors, manual gearboxes, a heavy design and a slow engine. The team wasted valuable assets and time on developing an active suspension system that was banned before the start of the season, and so Simtech never had a chance. Roland Ratzenberger failed to qualify for the first race of the season in Brazil, whilst teammate Brabham squeaked in, only to finish last of the cars running in 12th. 4 laps down. At the Pacific Grand Prix, Ratzenberger would take part in his only Formula 1 race. He managed to get onto the grid by beating the Pacific of Bertrand Gachot by 0.4 of a second. Ratzenberger would be the last of the finishers in 11th, and 5 laps down. But at least he made it to the end of his one and only Formula 1 Grand Prix. These were the last race laps of his career. At the Imola Grand Prix, Ratzenberger would damage his car, but not noticing continued with a flying lap. The front wing would give up and Roland Ratzenberger would make contact with the wall at Villeneuve Curve and be killed instantly. This tragic incident would sadly be overshadowed by the death of Ayrton Senna a day later. Roland Ratzenberger may not have been as successful as Senna, but he doesn't deserve to be forgotten. It's unlikely much would have come with an extended driver's sim tech, given they swapped drivers a lot looking for paychecks and the car being pretty naff anyway, but Ratzenberger, sadly, is a one race wonder. Not a lot happened in the aftermath of Imola 1994. The Grand Prix Drivers Association was restarted, the front row of the Monaco Grand Prix was filled with a Brazilian and Austrian flag. Only a select few attended Ratzenberger's funeral, including Max Mosley, compatriots Karl Wendlinger and Gerhard Berger, teammate David Brabham along with Johnny Herbert and Heinz-Harald Frentzen. Simtech would struggle on, very demoralised I would imagine. They never had any success and would be gone halfway through 1995. Ratzenberger was supposed to race for Toyota in the 1994 Le Mans race, but his place was taken by Eddie Irvine with his name kept on the car as a tribute. They managed to finish second behind the Porsche team. So that was the career and single F1 race of Roland Ratzenberger. A tragic story, but at least he got to be on TV with Roland Rat. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so you see more motorsport content, made by yours truly. Leave a comment with your thoughts, like the video, tell your friends. Thank you for watching, and have a good one.